Hey guys, welcome to the first edition of Out of Bounds, the weekly sports talk show hosted by yours truly, Carson Williams, alongside Evan O'Brien. We have a lot to talk about today, including North sports, Super Bowl recap, college basketball, and NBA and Thunder. So let's get to it.
Let's do it.
First we have North sports, boys basketball. Last night they took a tough loss to PC West, 49-40, led by 16 points from Patriot forward Tavion Pinnon. He was able to get to the basket whenever he wanted to, and basically manipulate the Panther defense just to do anything he could to help out his Patriot offense.
Yeah, PC West is one of those teams that's very balanced with Penn, and they also have Kevin House and Omega Harris, are two very good guards.
Girls basketball cruised the other night against Putnam City West, 51-28, and the girls are really improving. I think that head coach Brett McGee is doing a really good job with them. He's young, first-year head coach, but I think he's doing a very good job so far.
Yeah, I have to agree. Girls are looking really good. Standout this year, I think, is Deja Coffey.
Definitely
had a really good year.
That team's really young, led by freshman Nikayla Carter and others like Sydney Carolina, Blair Hall. So this nucleus is really here to stay for the next couple of years. I think that next year and maybe even the year after that, they're going to be pretty solid. So if they can keep it together and develop their team chemistry, I think this could be a very good basketball team. Wrestling, they just had homecoming last night, and this weekend they have a tournament in McLeod. I talked to Coach Brinley the other day, and he said that their team's 0-4, but he's really pleased with what they've been doing so far, despite that young experience. Regionals are next week for them, and if they qualify, or if they do well there, they qualify for state. So we'll just have to wait and see how they do. Swimming, this past weekend they had conference at OCCC, and the boys and girls both placed second. So they're on their way to state, and they're looking good for right now. Right now we've got the Super Bowl. Super Bowl recap. Super Bowl was last Sunday. Super Bowl 46 between the Giants and Patriots, a rematch of Super Bowl 42. Evan, what did you think?
I thought it was a pretty good game with the Giants winning 21-17. I thought a couple of the key factors in the game were a lot of the drops on the last couple possessions, including a couple by Welker and also by Deion Branch. Mm-hmm. I think those I don't think Welker lost them the game per se, but I do think they had a lot of catchable drops. Big factor, actually unfactor, would be Rob Gronkowski, only having 2 catches for 26 yards. He had a high ankle sprain and wasn't 100%, and that was one of their keys to the game, was to spread out that Giants secondary. And Eli Manning won his second MVP with 30 for 40 with 296 yards and a touchdown, and I think he's definitely becoming one of those elite quarterbacks.
I think so too. I think that he has one more than his brother Peyton, and now he's the Manning to beat. Now he's the top Manning, and I think that the Giants really proved themselves late in the season, starting with that win over the Cowboys in the last week of the season, and that just progressively got better as the postseason went on, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. So I think that they're definitely the better team when it counted. So Giants 21-17, Super Bowl 46 winners. Moving on, we've got college basketball. Evan, who do you think is the best college basketball team in the nation?
Well, there's a lot of good teams this year, very balanced with North Carolina, Syracuse. But I think I would have to go with the Missouri Tigers from the Big 12. They've been playing really well lately, 22-2, ranked number 4 in the AP poll and number 1 in Big 12. Just recently picked up a good win against Kansas, who's a top 10 team.
Definitely.
They're also one of the best shooting teams out there, with Ricardo Ratliff is averaging almost 76% from the field, which is an outstanding, maybe a record-setting year for him.
Absolutely.
A lot of young guards they also have, with Marcus Denman averaging 18 points a game, the 6'3" guard. They're just one of those teams that they can shoot the ball well, and they run, and they're very experienced, a lot of seniors on that team. So I definitely think they are the number 1 team in college basketball right now.
They are pretty good, but I'm going to have to go with Syracuse. They're currently number 2 in the AP poll, and they've got good guys like Fab Melo and Scoop Jardine, but recently Fab Melo was suspended, but just the other day he got reinstated, and he's clear to play. So I think that really helps them out, where they lost the game against Notre Dame without him. So he's definitely one of their big defensive players, along with Chris Joseph, who's leading the team in scoring with 13.7 points per game, along with Scoop Jardine averaging 4.8 assists per game. So they've got a bunch of guys that can pass the ball, shoot the ball. Just a well-rounded team. I think that Jim Boeheim's got another really good group of guys back when they won the national championship last time with Carmelo Anthony. the other Melo for the Orange. So I just think that Syracuse is a team to beat this season. They're playing in the Big East. Always has been a really good college basketball conference with Marquette, Georgetown, Louisville, among others. But I definitely think they can go far in the tournament, if not win it all.
Yeah, they are a very good team, especially Fat Melo getting reinstated definitely increases how well they are. But I think one of their big flaws is I'm not a big fan of the 2-3 zone defense that Boeheim runs. And I think teams like Missouri that are fast guards and can shoot very well will break that 2-3 and require them to go to that man-to-man, which they have struggled in this year. So I think they're very good, but I do think Missouri, their guards would definitely outplay their defense.
2-3 can hurt you and it can help you. I think big guys down low like Harrison Barnes and Ricardo Ratliff and even Jared Solinger, I think that really limits them down low for what they can do for teams that have big guys as their star players. So I just think it can help you and it can hurt you. So
yeah, definitely one of the big things. Those two teams are going to be big factors next March.
Yeah, can't wait to see what happens down the stretch. I think that wraps it up for us right now. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Out of Bounds. Next, we're talking about NBA and Thunder. Evan?
With my top four in the East so far this year would be the Chicago Bulls in first, followed by the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Orlando Magic. And in the West, I have the Thunder as number 1, the Clippers as number 2, the Nuggets as number 3, and number 4 in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm. Pretty good. My top 4 in the East are Chicago Bulls, Miami Heat, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Atlanta Hawks. And in the West, I've got Oklahoma City Thunder, Los Angeles Clippers, Denver Nuggets, and San Antonio Spurs. So we're pretty even right there. So I think starting with the East, Chicago Bulls are definitely the favorite in the East, and I just think that Derrick Rose, Carlos Boozer, Joakim Noah, they've all got good guys that can contribute and lead them to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, the Chicago Bulls right now 21-6, number 1 in the East as well. I think one of the things that people overlook on them is they say that it's a one-man team led by Derrick Rose, but in fact 4 starters right now are currently averaging double figures, including Derrick Rose and Richard Hamilton, Luol Deng, who's missed time, and Carlos Boozer. Big thing with them, the reason they're not number 1 in the NBA record-wise, is their injuries they've had this year. Only one starter has played all 27 games they've had so far, with Derrick Rose missing time with that toe injury, and really him even getting hurt last night was a back spasm, went to the locker room and didn't return.
Yeah, we don't know how long he's out either, so we'll have to wait and see.
What do you think about the West right now, Carson?
I think that the Thunder are the clear-cut favorite, led by superstar Kevin Durant, who was recently just named his 2nd straight NBA All-Star starter and his 3rd overall All-Star appearance, which is held in Orlando this month, later in February. I just think that there aren't really many teams that can compete with the Thunder, so I think right now they're all competing for 2nd place. I think even though the Thunder have kind of cooled down a little bit, I think that most teams are still playing for 2nd because Thabo Sefolosha for the Thunder hasn't played due to an injury lately, so that's really contributing. He hasn't been in that starting lineup, so that's forced James Harden and Daquan Cook in the starting lineup, which also hurts their 2nd unit. So, and I think that's where James Harden and Daquan Cook belong. For many people, before the season, they asked, should James Harden start? And the question to me is no, because obviously you can see with James Harden in that starting lineup, they can't. Their team chemistry takes a blow. So that's what I think. Evan, what do you think?
With the West, I do agree with you. Thunder are the clear-cut favorite, and a couple of those teams that are looking at that 2nd spot with the Los Angeles Clippers and Denver Nuggets. I think the Clippers will probably edge them out by the end of the year, just because Lob City has been very, very good this year.
Chauncey Billups just took a season-ending injury to his Achilles, so.
I think that affects them. I think that'll really affect them, but I do think Chris Paul is definitely top 3 in point guards in the NBA, and their big post team with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan are definitely never count them out.
Yeah, and so definitely with Billups' injury, Mo Williams and Randy Foye will have to step up for him. So we'll see how that goes. That about wraps it up for us on the first edition of Out of Bounds. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.